'69 Chevelle that my son just picked up. Turned that back into a '69 muscle car, like it was originally. It's got a little rust and cancer on it, but not near as bad as Cindy. And down here, we've got our sand buggy, waiting to go out to the desert. And here we have a 1958 Ferrari 250 GT that's been, top's been cut off, and a Chevy tune port motor in it. We did all the fuel injection system, and now we're doing a radiator and shroud to get the engine to cool correctly. Over here in the next bay, got a 36 Ford pickup truck, again with a late model computer controlled Chevy engine in it. We just dealt with the charging system and battery on it, and next week we're going to be making the shift indicator in the dash work from Dakota Digital. And down here in the lower section, got a classic 1957 Chevrolet Nomad. We're in the process of putting a complete suspension system in the front and disc brakes. We found some missing bolts for the power steering. We've got those coming in, and some different wheels to clear the disc brake assembly.
My name's Chris McIntyre. I own Competition Towing. I've been towing for 21 years locally here in North County, and towed for the local sheriff department for years and the CHP. Got tons of stories. But I got my own truck about 12 years ago. I am excited about this project because I think it'll make people more aware of different charities. And if we could do something like this and help out an organization, by all means, you know, my time's totally worth it. I think it's going for a good cause, and we'll see if we can get some more shops on board, and maybe people pitch in a little bit.
You know, you should check it every time every now and then when you check gas, get gas, when you check it, just make sure it's not using oil. So,
yes, custom bumper by Eric Heckman, who used to own it.
well, and that's one of the things, what I like when I'm looking at getting something like this is that the pieces are there. Finding a bumper can be difficult. Straightening one out and having it re-chromed, that's not too bad.
Right.
My thinking is keeping it real as original as possible. Probably won't re-chrome this stuff. Instead, probably do a paint scheme, maybe flat black on where it was chromed, do flat black, and then a paint scheme there. Like I said, first the priority is the cab. The fenders, the hood, those can be fixed. This rusts through, but I mean that could be fixed. But this, no way. And that's what I'm hoping maybe we can do is find another cab and then meld the two together.
Well, the nice thing too is it doesn't necessarily have to be a 49 cab.
Right.
Many of the different years swap back and forth. In fact, as I was telling you, that one's got it doesn't have 49 doors on it. It's got probably 52, 53 or newer, something like that, when they first came out with wind wings. So this has got the wrong doors on it,
yeah.
Technically.
A lot of, when I go to car shows, you'll see a lot of that. A buddy of mine is really good at spotting it. And you'll see a car that's, a 48, but it's got a 49 hood, or 50 this or 50 that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Johnny Cash song. Like, what was it? Like 55, 56, 57, 58,
Cadillac.
59 Cadillac.
Notice
it's not going to be a quick or cheap project either way.
No, you'll notice under the dashboard, it's been adapted over for electric wipers instead of the old vacuum style.
Oh, I had noticed that. I hadn't gotten that
Well, it's
far.
one of those deals where you'll see that kind of stuff. You'll also notice the differential in the back. That's a late model 5-lug pattern. It's out of something, nearest I could figure 58 to 62, 63, somewhere in there. That was the parts I picked for it. I put there's some Kevlar brake shoes on the back and a few other funky things that I pulled from a friend's part stock. Eric needed to get brakes on it. He brought it to me, and same thing as the other gentleman you're telling me about. It had no brakes, and so I pieced it together. But you'll notice it's got a later model back end. It's got the original front end. It's got the 6-bolt with the old funky brakes and all that stuff. You'll see that.
So I think the first thing before we get to into it is start doing our research on body parts, because that's going to be the real time and expense on it, and see what's available, how long it's going to take to find the different things, and source it out, and then put a game plan together. We got Eric working in the metal room, doing some drilling and cutting. Eric.
Yes.
Hey, I just talked to the guy that owns the 49 Chevy, otherwise known as Cindy.
Yes.
And I talked to him about how much rust there is in it. And we've decided that to cut expenses right now, he wants to see if we can just get it running and safe to drive. So since we got a few minutes, why don't we go up there and see if we can get it running?
All right.
Then we'll worry about the safety factor later.
All right. Let's grab some tools and let me finish these holes. I'll be right there.
All right. And that looks like it should be ignition. That should be battery. I get a spark. You got a ignition out there, Eric?
Yes, I have ignition to the coil.
Well, that's a good sign. Let's see if I can get a crank position. And let's make sure it's in neutral. All right. Yeah, I got a little loose connection here. You want to test for a spark? Put a spark tester on it?
Sure. Well, let's spray some stuff down the carburetor, see if we can get it to bark first.
Okay. You ready?
Go ahead.
Well, according to the gauge in here, it's charging.
The carburetor's dumping fuel right out, so we will pull it off and
All right.
rebuild it.
So, well, we know it runs. Carburetor's leaking like a sieve.
Yeah, the float's stuck open, and fuel was coming right out of the vent. Whole vent.
Okay. So the varnish has gotten to the carburetor like we expected. Well, next thing we need to do is take the carburetor off and either get a replacement or have this one rebuilt. We can send that up to Bob's Carbs. And then we probably should take the gas tank out, send it over to Ronnie's radiator, and have them flush it out and recoat the inside, because you know it's going to be full of rust. When we were draining the fuel out here, didn't you say that it was having trouble flowing, and so you had to blow back into it? So it's got rust and corrosion in the fuel lines. You know, it's got carburation junk in there. So we'll do that, and while those pieces are out, we can probably put it over on the hoist next week, raise it up in the air, take a look at the brakes, and see if it can be made safe.